You wake up at 3 a.m. to an intruder that's trying to break into your home, and you want to act to protect your family. But in Canada, that could land you in jail. There was a recent incident that happened. A guy has been charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon, using a knife to protect his family against an intruder. Let's talk about this really important topic. So this is what I know about it. It was in Lindsay, Ontario, and I was in Toronto, Ontario, or in the suburbs of Toronto. As a 44-year-old man was charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon, using a knife. He injured the intruder and who broke into his apartment. He left the intruder with life-threatening injuries. Well, he was defending his life against an intruder. The intruder was a 41-year-old who was wanted by the police, who faced charges like breaking and entering. But this man defended his home against the intruder, and now he's facing these serious charges. And it was a big story in the news. So while we were there, this was going on, and I was sort of following this as I could. We've spent some time traveling around, going to the Thousand Islands, going out on some boats, and mostly just spending time with my wife's family and her quite elderly parents. But the Canadian self-defense laws is what I want to talk about in this video. And laws under Section 34 of their criminal code, which states that self-defense is legal. So it is legal, you can defend yourself, but it says if there's a reasonable belief of imminent harm and the response is proportional to the threat. That's different from the United States, where in many states you have a castle doctrine where you can use the amount of force that you see fit, and it doesn't have to be proportional inside your home. Now, when we EDC and we're carrying on the street, that's a whole different story, and I think proportionality is really more important there in terms of gauging what that threat is and how we respond. But in the home, I think almost all of us in the United States that have the ability and legally where we live, we're going to use overwhelming force to defend ourselves, and that may be lethal force. In Canada, it does not allow unlimited force. Excessive force defined in Canada is maiming an unarmed intruder, and that can lead to charges. Firearms can't be owned explicitly for self-defense in Canada. They're for hunting or sport, but they really can't. They can be used if justified in an imminent threat of death, but the laws and the legal system is set up such that that is a very difficult burden to overcome. And I know in the United States there are places that are like that too. Now, we were staying in, we visited this military college, and it was really interesting to go there. We saw some demonstrations, and Canada takes pride in their military and their military training, and I thought that was very interesting to see. And so we did get some really interesting footage here that I want you to see as I continue to talk about this topic. Now, Canada has self-defense laws under Section 34 of the Criminal Code, and it states that self-defense is legal if there is a reasonable belief of imminent harm and the response is proportional. So the real question is reasonable force versus excessive force. And in Canada, a homeowner can't shoot an unarmed intruder for stealing an item. And I think in general, that's probably a safe bet for many people. You just can't start firing indiscriminately. And I think it's best to try to show that you did try to de-escalate and retreat to some degree. But in the United States, where you have castle doctrine, you have you're not expected that you have to do that. You have certain rights to stand up for your property and your home. And there's been a lot of chatter on social media about this situation. The Ontario Premier Doug Ford called for charges, and he called these charges a sign that something is broken. And he was arguing that homeowners should have all resources to protect their families. So clearly, there's a split in Canada about this. I think this should not be an issue. I think when it comes to your home defense and your family, I think you should have the ability to use the right amount of force. You should be able to use lethal force, and I don't think that guns should be restricted like they are in Canada. Now, a lot of Canadians have to resort to non-lethal alternatives like bear spray, using alarms, things that they think that they can legally get by with, but it's really a difficult situation, and I understand their interest in the less lethal community and their desire to build launchers that will be able to defend themselves, and they put that first over whatever happens legally in the aftermath, and I think they're rolling the dice legally. So I think that for me, Canada has these complex self-defense laws. They're not very clear, and I think that there's a need for people, and should be a call to action for people to raise questions. If you live in these areas, I think you should constantly be bringing these to the forefront and make them pay attention. The only way that you can get change in your country or in your city or in your jurisdiction is to stand up and be a voice and have a call to action, and to do all the things that you need to do to get the message out there and make it clear that this is not helping people, it's not empowering people, it's not giving people the tools that they need to be in a safe society. And it's really important that people stand up for what is inherently right. We all inherently have the right to self-defense. We cannot have our hands tied behind our back when an intruder is coming in at 3 a.m. Amazing cannon shot. I really I thought that was amazing. Now my wife got this footage. Take a look. As soon as it shoots the camera, you see there's a shell shock. She went away. I don't know if she's looking to see where it was going to land or what, but then she comes back around. So my take-home message here is that with guns being heavily restricted in Canada, defending your home in Canada requires really smart and legal solutions, because even if you use justified actions, it can lead to you going to court and being charged. It's happening. People are upset. It's not a very favorable place to be for your own self-defense. And that's about all I got to say about this one. Everybody be safe, take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.
I'm talking about like